ご紹介ありがとうございました。土屋と申します。今、
Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is TSUCHIYA. For my bio, and as introduced, and as you can see in my profile, CREAPI. For 25 years, I used to be working for 25 years in the central laboratories of the electric power utilities financed by EPCOs. And the accident was caused in Fukushima and implying a lot of burdens on the residents of Fukushima. I really would like to sincerely apologize for that. And today, it will be very, very modest, but I would like to share with you what I have been feeling in Fukushima. I have been talking to some people, but those people are quite limited. So possibly in this room, some people may feel differently from those whom I heard from, but I just would like to share with you and would like to talk with you. There are main 2 points I would like to talk about. Even today, government of Japan, well, I am also involved in some of the tasks entrusted from the Ministry of Environment of National Government of Japan, but what government is doing now is because of the fact is the lack of the knowledge and information, and that is to be completely compensated. That is often said, but my opinion is different. The most concern is the crisis communication concern following immediately the accident. Well, it used to be the past, but related to the past as well, going forward, in order for the reconstruction of your lives, what is very important is the guarantee of the freedom and the rights. Unilateral policies have already been given only, but the Japanese people, many Japanese people have freedom of choice and rights, but it's not the case of Fukushima. Fukushima people don't have them. I think that's the biggest problem.
So, as you know, crisis communication, the purpose of it is to protect people and help support people to protect themselves. This is the primary objective. But the Japanese government in 2011 and other many institutions could not fulfill this objective of crisis communication. For instance, contamination information. Radiation is not visible. You can't feel radiation, but therefore it's very important to provide information with regard to contamination, like where is contaminated and how much. But as you know, Iitate, which is the northwestern part of Fukushima, was very much contaminated. But then that information was available to the Ministry of Education already on the 15th of March. However, that very important information was never given to the municipality as well as the people living there. And as for radiation protection measures that ensued, from my perspective, immediate protection was necessary and immediate evacuation was necessary. However, the evacuation order was made only a month after the accident, and the evacuation was completed only in the latter part of June of that year. So at that critical time, nothing was done. I think that feeling of neglect took a very deep root in people's mind. And of course, we were mostly worried about children. So above anything, to provide information about radiation exposure for children was very important, but the government of Japan never gave clear order of doing so. And 1,000 or so experts came together, and then that for the government was good enough. And this result of 1,000 experts made government to conclude that the contamination in Fukushima was lower than that of Chernobyl. And then after some months, finally, for the first time, whole body counter was used to measure radiation exposure of children. And then the government said that it's all right, everything is all right and under control, and you do not have to worry about your kids. And another thing is about risk communication. That is how they call their activity based on the information. In my profile, I list risk communication as my areas of expertise, or one of the areas of expertise. However, very old, outdated type of risk communication took place in Fukushima, because no communication expert was involved in such activity in Fukushima back then. As long as I know, there was none. No risk communication expert was involved in this. But this invited a lot of criticism and discontent on the part of the citizens. And the reform is now ongoing because of that, and I'm involved in that. But then the distrust and also concern that emerged at the early stage, I think that cannot be gotten rid of very quickly, because they all felt completely neglected by the government. However, talking about Mama Becquerel, who is monitoring and measuring, yeah, we work together with residents and people living there. And from this activity, I'm learning a lot. And of course, the residents, they can get a lot of information out of this activity, but this activity has benefited myself a lot, like house ruins. We go into those houses to take measurement, and then I see those the counters, which actually go over the top to the right, and we try to find hotspots to take measurement. And through such activity, I have an opportunity to get to know about the real situation there.
Even little by little, trust is being built. For instance, the dose reported by the national or local government, it was said that it has some differences in terms of the air measurement of actual air measurement of dose. Even the dose, the difference. So, and we were told that by some residents that they cannot trust the data from the national or local government sources, but we can trust your data, and please do the measurement once again next year. So, and also, in terms of returning, the many opinions from the evacuees that it is not the place they would like to go back to. They would like to go back to their former life before evacuation. The national government focus is to returning people to the place, and many of the people I have been talking with saying that they will no longer go back. But I had a few more conversations with those people. They started to say that 20 years, 30 years from now, that will be very nice if my children or my grandchildren will be able to return. So their wish, kibo in Japanese, is written in Japanese with different characters, two characters which ki meaning returning and bo returning hope. they told us. And Fukushima Daiichi related information by the administration is hardly communicated directly to the local people. They can get an access to information only from the press. So it also serving as an obstacle, psychologically speaking, for them to be able to wish to return. And as a result of the thyroid examination, in terms of the result of thyroid examination, they said that they have not received a detailed explanation. Of course, basically, it is highly challenging, psychologically speaking, to ask this or that questions to physicians. But there are people who very seriously ask questions because they are really worried about the future of their children. I think what is needed now and going forward is an careful and full explanations so that the parents do not have to worry unnecessarily either surgery will be necessary or not, or treatment necessary or not. Regardless of the results, parents should feel that it was right for them to let their children go through the examination. I think that's the type of the explanation which is needed. And evacuees who have not returned yet are quite concerned about the former evacuees who have already returned, because community has really collapsed and they have now nobody to turn to or even to talk to when they have slight health problems. So a place or a forum of discussion in order to reconstruct communities, that's what we would like to build going forward. And guarantee of right to know about actual condition is sine qua non in order to review the communities, and also power decision making in order to decide what kind of community they would like to reconstruct. That should be given entirely to the residents, and a policy is needed in such a way that it allows the guarantee of such power and right. But I don't know how to do that specifically, and I would like to rely on your wisdom to work it out. Thank you for your attention.